6. We are back at it again with another NBA, I guess you could say NBA heavy podcast with my guys Zoo and Peebush. How you fellas doing?
Doing pretty well, man. Watching some epic games past couple nights.
We saw some epic performances, man. Some legendary moments and some really bad moments for some teams, man. Some really bad moments, like the highs and lows, man. Ones. Oh yeah. Some games I was just like, damn, another blowout, man. Like, there's some crazy things going on right now.
It's the playoffs, man. Like you said, everything can be. A lot of this stuff is unpredictable. There's some, I guess, series that we thought was going to go some ways, and there's some series that's kind of been some odd raisers. I'm going to start with, I guess, the Western Conference. The Clippers fought their way back, tied it up with Dallas.
Not surprised.
Yeah, they fought their. Listen, a lot of jobs and a lot of players' movements within that organization was on the line if they didn't come out with that Game 3 win. So 100%. I think they played like they knew, hey, we may not have a home to come back to in LA. And like you say, everybody wants to live in LA. So
of course,
and with the Lakers, they got blown out last night by the Suns. Devin Booker went off. I think he had 18 in the first quarter. I was like, yeah, this game's over. So see what they're going to do in Game 6. Epic game by Dame last night. Kind of feel bad that it got pushed around into a loss for him. But I'm going to ask the fellas, man, I guess which series are they most intrigued by? And I guess because most of the series are around Game 5 and Game 6. Who do you think will end up ultimately winning the series? And P-Bush, I'm going to start with you, man.
Man, I don't think you can pick against the Blazers-Nuggets series, man. It's clearly the front runner, the best series right now. Obviously, there's a couple other ones that are entering big Game 5s. That was a big Game 5 last night. We got Mavs-Clippers coming up, too, in the West. Rough Game 5 for the Lakers, as you mentioned, Sean. But, man, oh, man, I've never – that was Zoo and I were texting back and forth last night a little bit about some of those Lillard shots, man. I felt like I didn't see him miss for like 8 minutes of gameplay. Jeez. And even Austin – you saw that Austin Rivers clip, man, where he finally missed one in overtime, and he just like reached up and praised the Lord because he missed one of his absurd fadeaway 30-footers. And I will say – in that, reflecting on that game last night, Monte Morris single-handedly kept the Nuggets in the game and kind of offset as that third guy, but he also pretty much gave so many opportunities to Lillard. He missed a free throw, the only free throw he missed all night. It led to Lillard tying the game. He missed an easy little flip layup there, and that could have put him up 5. And then Lillard comes out, and I'm turning to my roommates, man, and I'm just like, all it takes, man, they could be down 6 and Lillard could tie it up in the matter of 30 seconds. I watched it happen to my Bulls earlier this year. Lillard is just, he had the most efficient 55-point game I think I've ever seen. I mean, he made 17 shots on like 24 total, I think. And of those 17, he was 12 of 17 from 3 and 9 of 10 from the line. I mean, I know that they played 2 overtimes, so his points were a little bit inflated, obviously, but when you're playing that efficiently and no one else is stepping up around you, man, I don't care how much you love your city and your team. I'm out of there in the next year or two, man. If McCollum's not stepping up, he did hit one big shot, a big 3 in transition there, I think in the fourth quarter.
Then he stepped out of bounds, but
yeah, and that was a great play by MPJ too to get just a touch on it. Threw him off, lost where he was on the court. Unfortunate play, could have been a triple overtime type game in that situation. Yeah. But, man, besides Jokic complaining after every single, play down the floor, he had a monster game too. But for me, difference maker was Monte Morris. The Nuggets always seem to just have one random guy step up, whether it was in the bubble last year, this year as well. Aaron Gordon's always coming out, crashing the glass. It's a fun series to watch, man. But the fact that the Blazers are pretty much fully healthy, and Lillard has to drop 55 to keep them in a game against a team
and they still lost,
missing their second their second best player now. I think with Jokic winning the MVP most likely. It's just sad, man. I mean, they don't make any changes, and we've talked about this on the podcast. The Blazers do not make changes to their team that much, and I think it's clearly showing.
Yeah. Like legit, Damian Lillard played a perfect game. The man had 1 turnover. He had 1 turnover the entire game with double overtime, and his efficiency is ridiculous. Like, he's shooting 3-point shots like layups right now, man. Like, he's shooting 3-point shots at an efficiency level that is insane.
And they're difficult shots.
And they're not open threes. These are isolation, step backs, like fallaways, his little in and out, like, little jab move. That like his moves are incredible. Like nobody's creating threes for Dame Dollar. Like nobody. Like this is all self-created moves. And because he's seen a bunch of bums he's playing. CJ McCollum 7 for 22, 2 for 8 from 3. As Sean mentioned, stepping out of bounds in a crucial moment when he's relying on you. Like what can Dame Dollar do? They scored 19 points in OT, 19 points in overtime, man.
Yep.
And he got 17 of them. That's ridiculous, man. His teammates got 2 points. 2 points. What more can this man do?
Not much.
Nothing, man. Nothing. This is as close to MJ 63 points against the Celtics. What Dame Dollar does. Like the guy got no help. His big boy Nurkic fouls out. Obviously, like he fouls out like every game. And his Cantor just sucks at defense so much, man. Yeah, man. He's just an atrocious defender. And and Robert Covington missing a dunk in overtime.
He was having a nice game.
Doing, man?
He was having a nice game.
Oh, he had a nice game until he missed a dunk. I was like, what the hell? Man, if I was
Didn't he have a mask on?
Didn't
he have a mask on?
I don't remember that, man. I don't remember that, but the boy missed.
I was about to say that may be a reason why he missed the dunk.
Nah, man, this guy is just a scrub, man. Missing a dunk in overtime, man. Like, this guy got paid to. He was the free agent acquisition that people say you're gonna push the Blazers to that. Nah, he's a role player, man. He's a nice, solid starter. He's a 3-and-D guy that came up unclutch in of a clutch moment. And if I'm Dame Dollar, I'm looking at my roster, man. Like Robert Covington, Norman Powell, CJ McCollum. Give me a second guy. You need a second guy to get it done. You see the Brooklyn Nets, they got 3 guys. Mm-hmm. One of the Trailblazers got 1 dude. They got 1 perennial all-star. And just look at the stack of talent in the NBA right now. Like the Clippers, you see the Clippers with 2 stars. Luka's also a solo show right now. But my God, Dame Dollar is the definition of a solo act. But he needs a sidekick right now, man. He's Superman right now, and there's no sidekick for Superman right now. And he's getting his ass whooped because Nikola Jokic, man, that pass to Michael Porter Jr.
Beautiful.
Oh, my Lord. Double team, calm. He just like chucks it over to the perfect pass. Porter has one of the prettiest jump shots in the game, man. He came up clutch in that game. I'm just like, damn, how are they doing that? Like
I don't know.
This guy playing with Campazzo, his starting point guard. Austin Rivers was not in the NBA.
That's the thing with Austin. He's the one that's
my God. Like their starting backcourt is a bunch of reserves, and they're getting it done. Like Austin Rivers. Monte Morris off the bench, 28 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Should have had 30 plus.
Dude, incredible. He missed that free throw that gave Dame Dollar the opportunity to tie the game. But, man, he had a nice game, man. 28 points in 41 minutes. He was working. So I'm just like, I don't know how the Nuggets team is doing it because talent-wise, I think Portland right now is a more talented roster with Jamal Murray out.
Too.
Yeah, but they're down 3-2 right now. I think this game, I picked the series going to 7. But, man, oh, man, if Nikola Jokic pulls this off, man, he was an underdog because he's without Jamal Murray. This just, oh, man, he gets the MVP and wins the first round against a nice Blazers roster, man.
Yeah.
Man, hopefully Nikola Jokic pulls it off, man, because he deserves it. He's putting in work.
If he pulls it off, I personally think he already is, but he's a top 5 player in the league. And at that.
Oh, yeah, he's better than Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Anthony Disney, as I like to call him, and seems like a lot of other people do. Because, bro, he's getting hurt in every manner of his body.
I was with
literally
you
every single year, man.
He does get hurt, but come on.
And it's dude, it's a new part of his body every time, man. It's a new part of his body. It's not a recurring injury.
We gotta relax with Jokic. He's great, but come on, this guy. Listen, first off, he's got to get through the playoffs.
Sean, I'm asking you a question. If Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis switch spots, what's going to happen right now?
It's the same thing.
The difference is irrelevant. Do you know why?
LeBron can't play with Jokic.
We've seen Anthony Davis as a solo act. He didn't get it done at all.
What is Nikola Jokic done as a solo act? He's got
MPJ. I know, man.
MPJ's a legit too.
He's not amazing. He's a young player now.
He's not legit.
He's developing. No, he's not an all-star.
What did he do in the playoffs last year? He played in the playoffs last year and was pretty good for them as a third option. Then he grew into a second option.
He's not an all-star, man. He's not an all-star.
I mean, it's semantics, but I mean,
I'm just saying, like Michael Porter Jr. is still in development mode.
Yes.
When he hits his apex, then okay, that's a legit second option. But he's still on his rookie contract, man. When you're out of your rookie contract, you're still in development mode. He is playing with a bunch of young guys and a bunch of veterans.
No, I'm not arguing
he's getting
that.
it done.
No,
but Anthony Davis.
But it's the first round. Like, I got to see Nikola Jokic get to the finals.
Dude, you see him last year in the conference finals, man. In the conference finals,
he got beat by AD.
No, he got beat by LeBron, man. What are you talking about?
Listen, they wouldn't have won last year without AD, bro. Man. Listen, I love LeBron, but we see LeBron's doing what he don't have AD.
He can't carry anymore.
He can't.
He's too old to carry.
Yeah, he's too old to do it. He can do it in spurts, but he can't do it all the time.
For sure. He can't carry. He can't carry a team by himself. We saw that last night.
Yeah.
And look, I'm just using him as a talking point with Anthony Disney. It's just a funny thing that people.
That is pretty funny though.
He is literally.
He's
a guaranteed. Yeah. He is a guaranteed perennial top 7 player in the league. It just so happens that he's very streaky when he shows up, and that's partially due to his injuries, and it's partially due to him not being a natural born leader. That's why we didn't see him progress in the Pelicans, man. He never even won a playoff game with the Pelicans, I don't think. And
he won one series against Dame.
You're right. He did.
With Drew Holiday.
You're right. He did.
Which is a big factor, Drew.
Yeah, and he hit that huge shot to put them in the playoffs over KD and the Thunder. I do remember that. That was a big 3-pointer that he hit back in the day. But look, man, the Lakers, shifting to the Lakers, they do need AD to win. I mean, but people were blaming the refs in the game last night.
Nah, man, they lost the campaign, man. Campaign is killing them.
They lost because nobody for the Lakers showed up. And it was like we don't want to play today. That's why they lost.
Maybe the Lakers should offer. Maybe the Lakers should offer $84 million to campaign and not Dennis Schroeder, man, because Dennis Schroeder looking like a G League player last night.
That was and he's want to get paid a max.
He wants $100 million, man. He passed on $80 million. I'm just like, that's some good money. He just passed up on.
Really good,
money.
Damn, Cameron Payne. What the hell happened, man? I thought like the first couple of games was an outlier. He continues the ball, man. He's getting the paint. He's finished.
He's fast.
He's hitting threes. Like, he's outplaying CP3 because CP3 still got that shoulder injury. CP3 had a great game 3, but you can see that shoulder still bothering him. He re-injured his shoulder, but I think he should be able to play the next game. But I'm just like, Cameron Payne is killing the Lakers. There is no excuse of that. And LeBron, I want a virtuoso performance by LeBron James. Yeah. I want the LeBron that puts up 30 to 35 shot attempts, man.
Right.
Dominating the ball. He dribbles the ball up. He pounds the crap out of the ball, slowing the pace down so that he gives his team an opportunity to win. Because without Anthony Davis, the team's just not that good because it's 2 superstars and a bunch of nobodies. Even though I don't know what happened to Montrezl Harrell, man. He went from a 6th man of the year to not playing.
They're not playing him.
I'm just like, oh man, Vogel. That's a little like you need some like talent. Like they need some offense because they're dropping 80 points in a playoff game in the modern day era. Embarrassing. You got LeBron.
This ain't the Pistons.
Oh my lord! And LeBron James. That was an awful game, man. Awful game.
One of his worst.
Yeah, I'm just like,
playoffs.
Has LeBron finally lost it? Like last year, man. Like, oh my lord, man, this dude dropping 40 points in NBA Finals. He still got it. But this year, I don't even remember LeBron James dropping 40 points in any game this year, man. Like 40 points. I'm just like, I need the guy that drops 40 and 10. Like that's what they need right now because he's playing with a bunch of nobody that is scared to shoot. Contavious Caldwell-Pope is cold right now, coming back from injury. Like they're going on Taylor Horton Tucker, trying to get some energy, like trying to get some guys on there to see who can get buckets right now. Kuzma sucks.
He was their best player in the first quarter yesterday. I was like, he was outscoring LeBron.
Kyle Kuzma.
Look, LeBron. I think to all of our points is like. He's a monster and he always will be. But can he still carry the team from start to finish? Now we have to consider the fact that there was a very minimal offseason this year. He did make a full finals run last year. He's running it on low tank of fuel right now.
That is true. Look at the Miami Heat. Look at the Miami Heat.
Look at Miami Heat, same situation. They're gone and they're out. And they're not at the stamina level that LeBron has, nor the skill level that LeBron has. Anybody on the Heat. And they had a similar situation. They just could never get it together. During the season and let alone the playoffs. But man, I do have to say, I don't care how bad your team's losing. I do not want to see a future Hall of Famer leaving and going to the locker room with 6 minutes
Oh,
left.
that was bad, man.
I knew
LeBron's a
he
sore
did
loser,
that.
man.
He did
He's
that in the
such
Golden
a
State
sore
series.
loser, man. I don't get that, man. He's a sore loser.
He pouts a bit, man. And you know what? Look, he's used to a level of play. And this is the difference, and I hate to say it, but like, you know, people are always saying like, oh, Michael Jordan would have never done that. No, it's because Michael Jordan would have held you accountable to do your job. LeBron's not the type of guy, and he's an unbelievable leader, but he's a little bit quieter, and he only gets angry when he's in a bad situation. Michael Jordan pushed you no matter whether they were winning or losing. And I feel like LeBron kind of gets complacent when his team's winning a lot because he's like, oh, we're working. I don't really need to tell these guys to keep going. And when a bad game like this happens, he's so thrown off by it that he just pouts in the corner and runs back to the tunnel. Now, he's 36. He's playing with a pretty young roster.
That's what I think it is. He's 36.
He's 36.
I think with LeBron,
he is fine. I'm not giving you the age excuse right now. I'm not because I saw what he did to the Warriors with that 3-pointer, man. I saw LeBron James.
Like I said, it's a spurt. This is a series.
It's a spurt.
No,
yes.
My point is he's got to win 2 games right now. It's a 2-game series. You go on a 2-game winning streak next round. And I feel like the next round opponent is actually easier compared to the Phoenix Suns, who's the number 2 seed.
You know what I honestly think it is? He's pissed off that AD's always hurt, and he knows he's probably not coming back. And LeBron is not the type to be like, oh, I'm going to hold you accountable when it's bullshit that his second player is always hurt. And it always ends up when LeBron is in these high-pressure situations. He can't count on the stars. Happened at D-Wade. He got hurt. Kyrie, when he went to the finals, broke his, kneecap. Kevin Love, arm goes out of socket. Then all of a sudden he loses that opportunity to lose to the finals. I think LeBron just gets to a point where people be like, well, you're LeBron. You got to do it all, bro. Just figure it out. But it's like, no, if you go back in his history, he's always had his second guy or his third guy get hurt. Yep. And it's always at high pressure situations. And also with LeBron, there's no excuses. Like we're doing, like you guys are doing now, or like how really everybody does. It's like, we don't make excuses for LeBron because everybody looks at him as like the second greatest or the greatest. So it doesn't matter. They're not going to look at it and be like, well, your second guy was hurt, like they would with the Kevin Durant or like they would with another star that's kind of chasing LeBron. It always gets put on LeBron. And like you say, Anthony Davis, MIA. And it's like you should have that guy to come and play because regardless of how great LeBron is, he is 36 and he can't carry the team like he can. In spurts, he can, but he can't.
Yes, he can against a Phoenix Suns team with an injured Chris Paul. Chris Paul has been injured this series.
He's a star.
LeBron James still a star. LeBron James still a star. So LeBron James D-book. Chris Paul's been injured. AD's been injured. So if you're LeBron James, you got to step it up and pull a Cleveland LeBron James and pull.
How old was he in Cleveland? He was 33. That's 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
Don't matter.
And he's coming off a high ankle. I keep telling people high ankle. No. Go talk. Go ask me.
He's fine, man.
He said he was fine.
Listen, I said he was fine, but his fine.
I saw the man dunk like it's nobody's issue, man.
I don't think you got. I think with LeBron, it feels like I'm defending LeBron, but like people, I follow LeBron, and I think people just expect because he's one of the greatest players. I can watch LeBron and say, yeah, he's fine, but no, he's not. He's not driving. Listen, go look at his shot attempts where he's shooting. He's barely driving to the rim like he does. If you go look at all his stuff around the rim, it's been from a lot of assists from Caruso or another point or Schroeder. Yeah. He's not getting to the hole like he did. He couldn't even, if you know the guy Miles Bridges, he was in the first 3 games, he was barely backing down Miles Bridges. That ankle's not fine. He's going to say and he's even admitted he's not 100%. But to me, he's still out there.
Nobody's 100% at the end of the year.
Yeah, but if you look,
everybody's injured, man.
Everybody is injured, but if you know anything about a high ankle sprain, it's not the same. That's not 4 weeks.
Like
he came back early. You saw when he came back for Sacramento, he came back too early because it still hurt. Like I always thought with this year when LeBron had the high ankle, I said the Lakers are not going to really be able to do anything unless AD was going to be able to carry them, and AD can't do that because he's always hurt. So it's just a wash. That's how I look at it.
All right, let me say this because let's just put it this way: LeBron looked fine the first couple games of this series, and I think that's
he didn't look in the first 2 games. In the first game, he looked like trash.
First game, but as we always say, we know LeBron in game ones.
LeBron sucks in game ones, man. He does not try.
And in game 2, AD carried him in game 2.
AD
had 34.
But LeBron was doing his thing, man. And yes, Sean, I agree with you that a high ankle sprain similar to a hamstring lingers. Turf toe, anything around like your leg when you're pushing off especially with the level that he's used to being able to do that, he has never really adjusted his game. And there are a lot of players that as they get older, Michael Jordan's a prime example. He had to learn to adjust his game, right? And he had to develop that and become shiftier in how he created his own shots. And to your point of, LeBron James getting all the scrutiny about, he's not allowed any excuses. Look, man, it's because he's compared to the one guy who also was not allowed to have excuses, right? And that man still got it done. He was at the same age, 35, 36, he had to go through an entire regular season without his running mate.
Jordan also took 2 years too, though.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But he was already okay. He's
coming off of 2 to 3 months. He just played in October to go to the finals. People forget.
I'm just giving you not this year specifically, but why LeBron is not ever allowed the no excuses pass. And it's because he's compared to him. We're the guy who at age 35, I don't give a damn how many years he took off. He still played. That was the third year after being taken off. It's not like it was the next year. It was 3 years after that. He had played 2 full seasons, and he led his team to the number 1 seed. And eventually Scottie comes back and they win the finals.
Yeah.
Look, there's some guys that are not allowed excuses. Kobe wasn't allowed excuses. But yes, he did have Shaquille O'Neal to go along with him. And that's totally fine.
And
but Hey man, look, I would argue you could easily argue that Kobe carried those teams with Pau Gasol, and obviously, right? And Pau Gasol is nowhere near as good as AD. Yeah. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's nowhere near AD. So the fact that LeBron does not allow to get excuses, I think it's passable because, hey man, if you're going to call yourself the greatest player of all time, which he has multiple times, and then you go out and whine about it when you lose and you don't get it your way. I understand that it's, external causes. That's fine. But look, man, at the end of the day, take accountability for your team. You're the guy that everybody looks up to. And Dennis Schroeder's pissing his pants when he's 0 for 9 and LeBron's looking at him like, don't you dare take that 10th shot. Right? Like,
I think a lot of it too is the players that play around LeBron get shook. They can't play with a GOAT. That's what I think it is. I think a lot of players say they want the moment. Like Schroeder was talking junk before. But to me, it's not even about fear. It's like everybody wants this pressure, and they talk about being like, "Oh, I want to play with LeBron." But when you're in these moments and you're Schroeder and you're talking before the playoffs about how nobody wants to see the Lakers in this, and then you score 0 points, that's the LeBron effect. You don't want that. You don't want that, and that just shows. I feel like that attributes to his greatness because a lot of people have these moments. Like, I feel like it's easy to play with Durant because Durant's a different style. And he's a greater. I feel like if I was out there, I probably want to play with Durant because Durant is going to play in terms of his game and stay within what he does. LeBron kind of, what do you say? I think he masters. He controls everything and everybody. That's why I feel like a lot of the times, like when he goes out or he's hurt or he's not playing, the team kind of dysfunctions and they did like how they did last night because they don't really know how to do, even though LeBron was out there. They don't know how to play when LeBron's down the floor because he controls so much. I just think, like you say, I've always felt like LeBron's plan was, hey, I'm going to play here for X amount of years. I'm going to age gracefully, and AD pick it up. And AD, to what you guys' point is, he's always hurt. And I just always feel like it's not an excuse for LeBron, but it's always that's part of his narrative. He's had if Michael Jordan would have played in the finals and Scottie Pippen would have got hurt, he'd be 5-1. Like you say, sometimes it's just the luck of the draw.
But this isn't the finals. This is the first round, and I don't
get the same with LeBron's team.
You're talking about the first round, man. Your name is King James. I don't care if my sidekick
Zeus talking like he's 28 years old.
I don't give a damn, man. This guy is not human. He is not human. He doesn't age like a normal human being.
He looks it in his series.
So you got higher standards for greatness.
Yeah,
he does.
His only comparison is Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Nobody else. There's no one else in my comparison. Nobody else matters. Cam Durant.
There's a lot of narrative. There's just a lot of narrative with LeBron about a lot of stuff, and I could point to a lot of the greats with Kobe and like Kobe, the stuff he did in games, like not shooting the ball in a game, 6 or 7.
Y'all might bring up Kobe. We're talking about LeBron James we can talk about people we don't do it, but we do it with LeBron because he's so great. You gotta get it done in the first.
No, I do agree with that.
If you lose the finals, you lose in conference finals. Okay, whatever. Maybe the other team's better. But in the first round, you got to get it done.
Listen, first off, there's been other greats that's lost in the first round. If LeBron does lose, it'd be his first time. Kobe's done it, and Michael Jordan's done it.
But no, those Kobe teams, he was playing with Smush Parker. Like Smush Parker.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about, people. It's like I think people forget.
I agree.
like LeBron's great. It's just because we're in this era where there's so many talking heads that go against LeBron, and then it's just this narrative gets pushed. But it's like if you look through all the greats and pick through certain stuff, like everybody's screaming, "Oh my God, what if LeBron's losing the first round?" Guess what? That'll be his first time losing the first round. Michael Jordan lost in the first round 2 to 3 times. He lost in the first round.
That man, MJ.
But I'm just saying, it happens. It happens. I think it'll be a footnote.
Dude, let me get this in.
Stop it. He's playing against an injured Chris Paul. Chris Paul, the most valuable player on the other roster, is injured.
I'm saying it happens.
You want to know why? I think partially one, it's because, Michael Jordan didn't lose in the first round after his first 2-3 years in the league. LeBron didn't make the playoffs his first couple years in the league either, right? That's pretty comparable.
Yeah, LeBron didn't make the playoffs.
He didn't make the
LeBron
playoffs.
LeBron also got to the finals at 22.
Sure, that's
with
fine.
Trash.
And congratulations, and he got swept.
I'm just saying, but after the first 2 years, he didn't get there, but he got to the finals at 22.
But my point is,
it threw up his expectations.
Think about it this way. If Michael Jordan had won a finals and the next year he came back and lost in the first round, what would you say about that?
I'd be like, he's still the GOAT.
No,
I would
shit on him.
I would. No,
Everybody would. If it was
Jordan.
in this social media day and age, he would have gotten shit on the same way. LeBron.
Jordan would have got shit on because he retired those couple of years in this social media age, but that gets to get hidden because it didn't happen back then. There's a lot of stuff Jordan did that wouldn't fly this year. Like, and it's another thing that he did with Phil, because the owner got rid of Phil. He just says, "Well, I'm not playing anymore." You think that would fly nowadays? If LeBron did it, everybody would kill him if he did that.
Only because it was Michael Jordan.
And there was no social media.
You want to know why?
Then.
Because Sean, because there's a difference between the two guys. Michael Jordan was very within himself, and in a narcissistic way. But man, he was just business towards the end, man. Yeah, his private life had issues, and he did get.
Well, I'm not talking
for that day and age, Sean. He got way more media attention than anybody ever.
Very,
and
he was the
you
first.
have to take it in relative terms. You got to take it in relative terms because. Yeah, LeBron's is blown out of proportion nowadays, but relative to back then, so was Michael Jordan's, right? You just have to take into account the relativity. Yeah, Michael Jordan was able to get away with some stuff more so because people weren't tweeting him at 3 a.m. and saying, "Hey, man, I see you in the Vegas club." You know, that's not something that was able to happen back then. They would have had to wait till the next day, print it in the newspaper, right? Yeah. And then see who actually wants to read it. It wasn't as accessible. So it's a different time. You can't compare him, but at the same time, that is who LeBron is compared to. And if that's going to happen, and you also say I'm chasing Michael Jordan, he said that in the past, and then he said I am the greatest. Then of course we're going to hold you to the highest standard if you're saying that you're better than.
Yeah, he called himself the GOAT already after beating the Warriors team. He called himself
if you think you can pass the current GOAT, then prove that you have the same standards that he had. And that's where it's like, but it's sometimes it's blown out of proportion.
Yeah, so I feel like you say, everything's relative. I just feel like with LeBron, it's like, which makes him so polarizing. I think it's just so extreme and so this way. Like even though you may not hear it in the last 15 minutes, me talking about LeBron, I'm kind of like in the middle because I do think sometimes as a leader, he does do a lot of pouting, which I think is trash in terms of like going into the locker room. But I think LeBron also has an idea of. It doesn't matter what he's doing because last year when he won and he said in his press conference or when he was holding a trophy, he was like, "I want everybody to give me my damn respect." Guess what? A bunch of media heads went and started talking about why is LeBron asking for respect? He's always asking for somebody. Like I think LeBron's mindset is just like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So he just does whatever. And I don't think, and I think he, like I say, there's stuff I think he does that he should be criticized for. Because, like you say, walking out and going early to the tunnel, people saying he's getting treatment. No, you should stay out there. If you got your ass kicked like that, you should stay out there. But I think a lot of it gets, like you say, he gets beat or whatever in this series, or if he wins a series, it ain't going to matter because if he wins it, people are going to say, well, you're LeBron. Like, whoever will say, yeah, LeBron James, you got to figure it out. And if you don't, and if he doesn't, it's the biggest thing in the world. I just feel like if he doesn't and he doesn't figure it out, it'll be a big deal for, like, what? 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but I don't think 5 years from now when he's retired, people will be like, "Oh my God, remember when he lost to injured Chris Paul in the first round?" I don't think he's Jordan. I don't think people.
You know who's going to keep letting him know that though? The first time they play against each other, Chris Paul's going to let him know.
Paul definitely
because they're good friends, man. And I think
Chris Paul is kind of pissed that he didn't get kind of consideration in Miami because I think that was a thing with him and D-Wade. I think they took Bosh, and I don't know if the contracts messed up.
No, the contracts are off, man. He was going to draft class 2 years later. Okay.
Yeah, but I think
Okay, no more LeBron James. No more LeBron James. Now we got to move on to the next coming star, Luka Doncic, baby. The Don versus the Clippers, man. And my Lord, The Clippers going to win this series, man.
Yeah.
The Clippers going to win this series. They're the better team. Like, I always thought they were the better team. So when they lost those first 2 games,
it was a shock.
Oh, my Lord. I was so shocked. Tim Hardaway Jr., I told you, looked like Ray Allen. Okay, regression to the mean again, man. Regression to the mean. Tim Hardaway Jr. looking like booty. Finney Smith was always trash. Maxi Kleber was always ass at shooting threes. And Luka Doncic got like a nerve damage on his neck. So I'm just like, man, it's looking like the Clippers series to win the next 2 games right now. They're in full control. Tyler made an adjustment. Nicholas Batum playing a lot more minutes. They got rid of Zubac. Like, Zubac, man, that dude sucks at defense, man.
Yeah.
That dude sucks. So I'm just like, man, that's incredible how the Clippers turned the series around. Like, after that one game, like game 3, I'm just like, man, Clippers got next game, man. They just look like the better roster. And they should win this series. They're the better team.
And Zoo, you didn't even mention Kristaps Porzingis, man, who is pulling a Julius Randle of the Western Conference right now. He is choking. I mean, he's playing like absolute garbage. Zoo, you mentioned Finney Smith, you mentioned Max Kleber, all these guys before you mentioned their second best player.
Man. I forgot about him because how bad he is.
And that's telling, right? Look, man, I think we even said this after 2 games that after that hot start by the Mavs shooting-wise, man, shooting better from 3 than the free throw line, it was bound to happen that they were going to regress. Game 3 was pretty close, and game 4 was just a bit more of a blowout. Look, man, Lucas struggled in that 4th game. I don't think anybody scored 20 points in that game for the Mavs. If that happens in the playoffs, you ain't winning. I think the Knicks are a prime example of that. If you can't get 1, if not 2 guys scoring 20 a game in the playoffs, man, that is just you're not going to have a chance, especially against 2 superstars. And I hate to still put PG on the cusp there because he's been in and out of that superstar conversation here for the past couple of years. He's solidifying himself as a solid number 2 to pair up with Kawhi. I think he's definitely come back stronger than his bubble performance last year, man. Yeah. No, you haven't seen all the playoff P and all that being thrown around even after they went down 2-0. So I'm interested to see how the game goes tonight.
And Kawhi Leonard has been balling. Yeah, his mid-range, like the dude is barely missed. Every time I see him pull up, man, it just looks too easy for him. And I'm just like, this Clippers team right now, we were talking about the Lakers struggling. Clippers are thriving the minute the Lakers are struggling right now. This is their opportunity to come out the West, especially with an injured Denver Nuggets team, a Portland Trailblazers team that's like, you don't really fear them and you're objectively the better team. This is their window this year. Like this year, they have a legitimate chance of making it to the finals. And even if you lose, at least you made it to the finals. Like that. Like this is a team that's never been to the Western Conference final. So you make a jump to the finals. At least you can put that on your resume. Okay, we led this team to the finals, and maybe it was the Brooklyn Nets team, which has 3 superstars. But man, the West is wide open for them right now. They better get it done. They're fully healthy. The roster's absolutely stacked, man. I got to shout out to Tyler. He made an adjustment, man. He made an adjustment. I'm not the biggest fan of Tyler, but he actually made an adjustment after game 2. So, man,
maybe he listened to you, Zoo.
Man, dude, Zubac sucks, man. I'm telling you, bigs cannot play, man.
Yeah, he's too slow-footed.
Right? Like you get a pick and roll on Luka Doncic, and just like Luka Doncic is like, man, I'm going to eat all day if I see Zubac guarding me. So I'm just like,
and Pat Bev.
Yeah. So. The bigs in the center, man. The wings, man. I'm telling you, the wings are the things you need in the playoffs to get it done. So
wings that can switch,
absolutely. So I'm just like, man, I'm hoping Luka gets it done, but I'm just like, man, I'm getting replay of last year, man. I'm getting deja vu of last year, man. He has some epic performances, but the guy dropped 44 and lost, and I'm just like, man.
Unless they start heating up shooting, I don't see it because they're gonna. I think now they kind of gotta. Even though Luka's kind of compromised, they got a plan to kind of like stop him and make him at least look, like, okay, you can get your points, but other guys are going to like not shoot, 17 or 25 from 3. Right. So I don't know. I think, like you say, the Clippers, they better figure it out and get it going because I think the next round matchup would be Utah. I still would take the Clippers against Utah because I just don't see anybody on the Utah Jazz that can guard them. I just don't see anybody. I mean, Bogdanovich and I don't even know who else the other wing. Joe Ingles, nah.
Joe Ingles.
Nah, it's not happening. Yeah,
Jordan Clarkson.
Like, unless Donovan Mitchell goes like, I mean, they do have Rudy Gobert, but I mean, he's going to be getting 5, 6 fouls after they're going into the lane. So yeah, I don't.
He's had a nice series against the Grizzlies, man. Which
it really, against,
yeah, he's been getting points. Rudy Gobert has been getting buckets right now,
and against a good player in Valanciunas, man. But I just got to give a quick shout out to Ja Morant, man, because he is a star in the making right now. That man is carrying, unbelievable, dropping 47, setting the franchise playoff record. Oh my God, man, future leader, man. I hope they continue to build around him.
Dude, that team is like, and I don't know how Jaren Jackson's going to do, but like if he can be anything, they got a nice deep team because like I think Bane
Brooks
stepped up this year.
Yeah. Oh,
surprisingly, I don't know if it's a
contract year for here or not, but maybe I don't know.
I don't know about Kyle Anderson though. That guy's still trash every time I watch him play, man. They need to upgrade at the wing position, like I said.
Yeah, I don't know what he's like a point forward type.
He's a point forward. He's a ninth guy off your bench. He's a ninth or eighth guy off your bench, man. Yeah. Like the guy is not a starter in the NBA playoffs, man.
We would have talked about a change of pace. Oh man, that's like world's difference. It's bad.
Oh my God, man.
But go ahead.
But man, I want to talk about this series a little more too. The New York Knicks versus the Atlanta Hawks, man.
Yep,
it's on right now.
Trae Young looks like a superstar point guard who's controlling the series as a primary scorer and distributor. And the New York Knicks, do you know what they look like? They look like the old Chicago Bulls team with D Rose balling and a bunch of bums on offense, man. Yeah. They're legit, like Tom Thibodeau teams, man. They suck on offense, like a lot. Like I'm like D Rose ISO. Like what's going? Julius Randle ISO. I'm like Julius Randle.
That's the guy. Yeah,
sucks.
Yeah,
he's so bad.
I don't know what's going on.
Well, he's got 18 and 11 right now. I will say. He
okay.
18 and 11.
Thank
but
the
he's
Lord.
choosing a little too late, man. Coming back 3-1. I mean, we saw it a couple times last year, man. But I don't see it coming from a heavier defensive team compared to an offensive team.
Yeah, the problem is
they might force 6. It's possible.
Problem is Derrick Rose is the best player right now, and the dude is past his prime, and he's their primary ball handler. After the Tibbs consider him the starting lineup, primary distributor, and I'm just like the roster is not that good, and you rely on a past his prime D Rose to carry against an Atlanta Hawks who Trae Young RJ. Yeah. What happened to RJ Barrett? A nice little regular season, man. Like got the 3 ball down, but he started regressing.
I guess you could say is that Julius's first time in the playoffs, maybe?
Yeah,
that might be wild. Yeah, him and RJ first time. So I mean, it's Trae's first time too, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, I'm watching Trae Young.
That series actually. Yeah,
Trae Young, Ja Morant, they're dominating. And like some guys show up in the big boats. Hey, Devin Booker dropping 30 like easy right now. So
Devin Booker's got like he was just on a shitty team for so long, man. He's a little bit older than the other guys, but you know, he has more like just maturity, I think, in his basketball IQ. But I mean, still, man, we're seeing some players step up and others when they're under the big lights, man. And I'm keeping my eye on the ones that are stepping up because there could be some movement down the road in a couple of years from, you know, out of Memphis, out of Portland. Who knows, man? There's rumors that Danny Ainge might go to Portland, man. His hometown.
That would be interesting, just because I think he would get rid of McCollum like that. I think
100%. He makes
they gotta make some moves, man. He gotta make some moves.
I think he would get them out of there. I don't know what he would get for McCollum, but he's getting him out of there.
Yeah, man. They could get something good. They could probably get either a couple young guys or some draft picks.
But they need an all-star. They need an all-star, like a legitimate all-star. None of these fake all-stars and CJ McCollum and Nurkic, man. We need a real all-star with Dame Dollar because his talent is getting wasted.
He's not super young either. Dame.
Dude, Dame's in his 30s, man. He went to college for a lot of years, so he started even later. So Dame Dollar has like 3 to 4 years left, and his career is probably over after that. So I'm just
He'll be 31 in July.
Yeah, like 3-4 years. We hit 34, 35. His career is probably over then. So I'm just like, Dame Dollar, man. I'm hoping he gets in a better situation. My Chicago Bulls could really use a Dame Dollar to get it done, man. We have a point guard. I'll trade everybody, man. I'll trade everybody to get
I'm about to say you'd have to give them like Levine, Williams, and like a first rounder. And that's still probably not enough.
For 4 years, I wouldn't do it. Not for 4 years of Lillard, man.
Because then you wouldn't have anything to go. Unless you knew another star was coming, then maybe.
Yeah, then the Portland Trail Blazers would be back in Chicago, man. He's sucking down there, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. But you would have what's his face? The Ford. What's his name? Vucevic. A nice
Vooch.
guy. Nice
Gucci Mane, dude.
He'd be a good 3 option to whoever would be the second star to come.
Yeah.
He probably could flourish in that role, to be honest. A 3rd option, wing shooting. I don't know, but we got a lot of time with the playoffs and all the scenarios that could come of, I guess, this weekend, because a lot of these matchups are going to be wrapped up this weekend. But last topic, real quick, bombshell today with the Boston Celtics, with Brad Stevens going to basketball operations and Danny Ainge seemingly resigning from the Celtics. It's been kind of a weird season, or I wouldn't say it's a weird season for the Celtics. They did have a lot of things going on with Brown getting injured, and I guess the only revelation they could get with was Tatum, kind of solidifying himself as a superstar within that organization.
Understatement.
But, yeah, he's a dog for real. Just want to get the guys' thoughts on, I guess, who the next head coach would be, the direction of the Boston Celtics. Do they think there's a good fit with Brad Stevens and Zoo? I'm gonna let you lead it off.
I'm going to shout out the Boston Celtics of getting 1 game against the Brooklyn Nets, man, because that roster.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Tatum.
They should. Yeah, Jason Tatum, man, he is. I'm saying he's a superstar now, man. He is the ability of dropping. This guy dropping 40 and 50-point games like consistently now. And now in the playoffs, like this dude's getting it done with a bunch of like nobody teammates. Like Kemba Walker, as I said, regressed so much, man, so much. I like Marcus Smart more than Kemba Walker.
As an
Marcus Smart, as an all-around player, I would rather have Marcus Smart on my roster than Kemba Walker right now because Kemba is a liability on defense. But I don't know, Danny Ainge. Some people love what he did, some people hate what he did. I thought he did a good job. Like in the draft, getting Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. The Philadelphia 76ers would be in the NBA Finals if they got Jason Tatum instead of Markelle Fultz. You got the
100%.
center, you got the wing, and you got the point guard. Like they're all two-way players. Like that team would legitimately be a title contender. Right now, I think they're still fraudulent because I don't believe in Tobias Harris. Instead of they could add Jason Tatum. Like legit, Jason Tatum is like Tobias Harris on roids. Like that's what the difference in power is right there. But I'm just like, Danny Ainge did a good job, but the problem is he wasn't able to pull off that trade when a superstar was unhappy. There have been so much star movement in the last 3 to 4 years. Yeah. Like Kawhi Leonard, Jimmy Butler, like all these stars, Anthony Davis were on the move. Boston Celtics would be like, oh, we're interested, but they wouldn't get it done. Like they had the draft picks. Like you see what the Brooklyn Nets did. You see what the Brooklyn Nets did with getting James Harden. They just mortgaged your entire future, and now you got 3 stars, and now you're contending. So they could have done the same thing and kept Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and just trade all the draft picks and all your young players to get a 3rd star to legitimately make a big 3. And with the big 3, obviously you got 3 all-stars on your team. You're going to be in championship contention for the next 3 to 4 years. So Danny Ainge had a golden opportunity. He swindled the Brooklyn Nets. He drafted well, but he wasn't able to pull off the trades to make this team legitimate contenders. Legitimate contenders. So I'm just like, Danny Ainge, he get a good effort, but he didn't get it done with trades.
But Zoo, he did it once before. In 2007, man.
That was Kevin McHale and him were buddies, man. he gift carded him KG, man. But they traded Al Jefferson. They traded Al Jefferson for Kevin Garnett.
Look, hey, man, I think we can all understand that, man, having somebody on the inside, no matter where you are, what you do in life, man, it'll always get you a 1-up, and it got them a championship. So he is a champion as an executive. Now, the young talent that he has, obviously he should have done better and built around it. But he also pulled off another insane trade, getting rid of the same guys he traded for in 2007 to get what he has right now. So he set the Celtics up well. And, he made tough decisions when it came to Gordon Hayward, for example. Like, he knew that Gordon Hayward needed to start taking a step back. And credit Brad Stevens, too, for even coaching him back in college, accepting what Danny Ainge said. Danny Ainge is one of the most killer GMs, basketball operations guys, you want to say, he's willing to make the tough decisions. Yeah. And I think that, he's saying it's retirement. I think he's in his early 60s. Bro, he's going out to either Portland or he's going to Utah, one or the other. I think he's going to accept that job. And because they got the new management out in Utah. Remember that, right?
Utah's doing well right now. I wouldn't change management right now.
Wait, no. In like a year or two. I'm saying he's probably going to take a year off. But look,
Utah's run well.
He's got bad health, Danny Ainge. But the bigger shock to me is Brad Stevens, man.
What the hell is he going to do as a head of basketball operations, man?
Because look,
trade Marcus Smart. That's what you're going to do.
That'll be the first thing he does in about 5 seconds once he accepts. Yeah. But like 8 years at one coaching job is pretty impressive. First of all, you don't see that often in the NBA, let alone a guy of that age too, that he didn't mess up that much. Obviously he didn't get a ring. I think he's like 4th or 5th in total wins in Celtics history for a head coach. But I think he's just burnt out a bit. I mean, the last 3 years, think about this. They had all the injuries recently. They had to deal with the bubble. And then the year before that was the whole Kyrie situation and debacle. So he's had 3 years of pretty high level stress, a lot of travel, not seeing his family. He's always talked about how he's a family guy. Yeah. And I think he just wants to take time. But he also doesn't realize that being the head of basketball operations.
Yeah, that's a stressful job too. Drafting, free agency, trades, relationship building, like all that stuff. That's hard work too.
The only thing that he can dictate is when he wants to travel on the road. And I think that is something that he's going to benefit from, is he can, not go on every single road trip necessarily like he had to when he was a coach. But man, I mean, it's interesting that they also gave the guy, I know he's been a good coach there for a while, but he gets knocked out in the first round, and the next day they give him a promotion and probably going to pay him more money in the long run too. Yeah. I know he's a good coach, and he's he's ingrained in the organization. They're a very solidified organization. I don't think anybody who is looking for this opening coaching job now would turn it away because it's Boston. It is Boston, man. It's one of the blue bloods of the NBA. It's the Celtics. Now, there are really no names that jump out immediately. Yeah, I think if Nate McMillan wanted to make a switch, that would be pretty nasty. He's proven himself pretty well.
Atlanta's going to re-up him.
But Atlanta's going to re-up him.
Especially he's changed their franchise, man. He legit changed their franchise.
If this would have happened 10 days ago, I would have said Nate McMillan could be up there as a top, person. But if he wins this first round, which it's looking like that the Hawks are going to knock off the Knicks, they're going to re-sign him. So I think there could be people that are in the playoffs right now in decent situations that they could go. And I mean, the Celtics, I don't give a damn if you're in the playoffs right now. That's an upgrade overall when it comes to pay, young talent too. So it's kind of up in the air of who's going to go there, but it is good that Brad Stevens is going to have a say in it because he does know the team very well, obviously. So
yeah,
who knows what to look for.
They better get it right though. Whoever Brad Stevens, because I think it's going to be his call, and there's going to be probably ownership ties with it too, because they always probably have their say in who gets hired. But they better figure it out, and they better be listening to Tatum and Brown, because if they don't, Tatum is
hopefully they mess it up. They piss off to your young stars, and they'll be like, "Hello, Chicago. Let's make a call, man. If I'm AK, I'm going on the phone. Hopefully they're messing it up, because, man, the Boston Celtics, they got enough titles, man.
Because, they really can't. Another thing with Boston, I think they kind of have to, because they drafted Jalen and Tatum. So I feel like they have to, their type of talent, because outside of the KG heist, they drafted Paul Pierce too. Ray Allen, I guess, came in a trade, but they free agent wise, they really,
they missed on free agents. Man.
Yeah,
Al Horford, Gordon Hayward were their two max signings. Yeah, those are called fake max players. They're the guys you get when you miss out on the start, aka the Carlos Boozer.
Yep, I knew you were going to say that.
Boozer of free agency, man. So they missed out.
Boozer.
You get LeBron, Chris Bosh, D Wade, and then we get Carlos Boozer.
Boozer had a hell of a mid-range shot, though. And that thing used to stay all the way up in the air for freaking 20 hours before it came down. But
and then he'd swing around and punch the ref in the nuts, man. That's what he'd do.
Carlos Boozer. I forgot about him.
What a guy.
But I think it's going to be interesting to see who they hire. I'm not a big believer in the lifer thing in terms of these players are I'm going to stay at this one franchise. It's just you've seen the patterns of all these big time players. They end up moving teams. So it's unless you're Steph, Clay, that little nucleus in Golden State, a lot of these players are moving around. So it's going to be interesting to see who they hire, because like I said, you don't want to be in a situation 3 years from now where Tatum's gone or he's, demanding his way out. And then you got Brown that's just like the lone star, which I do kind of think they need, if they do, those two guys, they got to get a point guard that can like get them the ball because they don't play well. Like those two don't play well. Like
they play my turn, your turn type of style.
Yeah,
like
they don't
the
play
ISO game.
Yeah,
the ISO game is like not very effective.
It's kind of predictable.
I don't know.
Even though it's not predictable, it kind of is because you just know, like, yeah, they ain't passing Kemba the ball in the fourth quarter. Let's be honest.
Obviously,
I feel like we always shit on Kemba Walker, and it's kind of bad because he's had some.
He's getting paid $140 million.
But he's getting paid too much, man.
If you get paid, you get higher expectations.
And then that's one of the things I could say about Ainge. Two things I could get mad or not mad if I was like a Boston Celtics fan. It was like, God, why did he do that? Like, first off, there were people saying in Charlotte, Kemba, I don't think his knees is looking kind of weird. He still made the trade. And I think that was more of a knee-jerk reaction because of Kyrie
Irving.
And two, I feel like he could have, I don't know what year the Kawhi, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago when he was on the block in San Antonio. It's like, man, if I'm him, I plunge. If they're like, hey, give me Jaylen Brown, I'm giving up Jaylen for Kawhi because they would have won the championship that year. If everything would have failed the same way, I know Golden State got hurt, so we don't know if Golden State would have got hurt. Sure. It may or not have mattered. But if it would have failed that way and they got hurt, Boston would have came out the East and they probably would have won the championship that year. If you had Kawhi. Because Kawhi and Tatum together for at least a year would have been. I mean, I'm not sure who else was on that team. I think maybe Rozier and guys.
Once again, you're putting two small forwards next to each other, and it's going to be trade-off ball. They need either like a – obviously, like if you're looking pure idealistic – like a Jokic would be perfect to pair with Tatum.
Chris Paul would have been perfect for them.
Chris Paul would have been a nice fit. There's some, trading for Levine could have been a nice play as he's more of a shooting guard situation. Obviously, still not a primary ball handler, but a little bit more explosive, I guess. But look, they got lucky to get those two guys and have them turn, Jaylen and Jason to turn out the way that they did. Yeah. But it was a great look, man. Ainge had great draft picks. He had great signings. But if you're going to be at the same position for 17 years, you're bound to make mistakes, man. Yeah, and some of them just happened to all compile when things started going south. Like I said, in the Kyrie situation, that's when kind of things went south. So, and unfortunately, that went alongside when Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were bettering. So it was just
kind of crazy that when Kyrie left, like Tatum kind of like took off. Like Tatum was already kind of killing a little bit, but like once Kyrie got out of there, he took off. So yeah, that might have been something to it. Because I don't think Kyrie's not really a true point anyway. So we'll be interested to see what happens with Boston, who they're going to hire. I'm guessing they're probably going to do their due diligence. They're not going to just rush into a hire. They might be a
first time head coach.
Could be.
Yeah.
They hired Brandon Stevens out of nowhere, and they might do the same thing again.
Yeah. Maybe I ain't gonna say that. I was about to say maybe Coach K. They're waiting on Coach K. I don't know. That would look so weird though. That would never happen. But God, that would look so weird. Coach K running around in the Boston Garden. That would be. That'd be.
He wouldn't be running, dude. He'd be slowly walking. Come on. At this point.
But yeah, like I said, we're gonna see what they do. It could be somebody in the playoffs that they're gonna hire, but I think Boston, with their history, they'll be able to figure it out. So, as usual, man, that's the end of this podcast. A lot of NBA talk. A lot of stuff about the Boston Celtics. As we say, I think the next time we come in, we're going to have a really good grasp on who's going to be getting into the second round. Then that's going to start heating up with the matchups. I think it's going to be a lot of interesting matchups if everything.
Bucks and Nets, man. Bucks versus Nets.
Solid matchup.
Yeah. I think I was kind of, when I saw that, I was like, I knew they were both going to get there. I was thinking maybe Nets 3-1. But after seeing how they did Miami, it's like, that might be a tougher series than I think. That might be tougher.
This is when the East gets interesting. This is when the East actually gets interesting.
Yeah.
West really is interesting now, and for the rest of the playoffs, the East is like slowly getting there.
Yeah,
per usual.
And I don't want to jinx Atlanta, but if they end up getting out this series, it could get interesting for them next series with Philadelphia.
Joel Embiid.
Yeah, that could get real interesting. That could get real interesting.
A little meniscus injury. I'm just like, that sounds. A meniscus injury is a meniscus injury. Like that's not good.
It's a tear, man.
Unless they clip it off, like
they have to take it off.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Then doesn't your knee like degenerate faster if you clip it all the way off?
Oh yeah,
yep. D-Wade, D-Rose too.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know D-Rose got that, but so like we say, we're almost about to get into another pod talking about that. But like I said, a lot of playoff talk. will be coming for the days. Like you say, it's always something that's going to drop. But news from the NFL, NBA. Like I say, sorry guys. I actually had a guy comment on one of my old baseball reels that I did, like I think a couple months ago, and he was just like, "Where's the highlights?" And I kind of DM'd him, and I was like, "Man, look," I was like, I put stuff on the story. I don't necessarily do centralized posts, and like I said, unless it's like a no hitter, and he got what I was coming from, But if he listens to the pod, we most likely will be talking about baseball. So maybe if the playoffs come, we might get squeezed in like a World Series, but until then, I'll make sure I get some reels up of all the baseball stuff that we do or that is going on. So make sure you guys follow us on bullheaded_pod. A lot of great content as usual, putting up stuff every day. Like I said, I just put up Dame's 55-point game yesterday. A lot of stuff like that. Make sure you guys follow us on Anchor, Apple, Spotify. If you're on Apple, make sure you give us a 5-star review because that gets us in the algorithms and it gets more people to view this show. And as usual, for me, P. Bush and Zoo,